What's up, world? It's John, and the question you must be asking yourself today is, should I travel to Cuba? Are any of the three following things requirements for you to travel? Constant access to high-speed internet, top-of-the-line customer service, and a wide selection of gourmet foods. If any of those three things are required for you, stop watching this video right now. You should not travel to Cuba. Otherwise, let's proceed. Should I travel to Cuba? Should I not travel to Cuba? Cuba's an interesting place that comes with its own unique challenges for going there, and after spending a couple of weeks on the island, I'm gonna chime in with some of my opinions, and I'm gonna discuss if you should or should not travel to Cuba. You should travel to Cuba if you want to experience a culture that hasn't changed all that much in the last 50 years. I'm talking vintage cars, and outside of Havana, pigs running in the streets, horse-drawn carts, an agricultural society, and a whole lot of things that are probably gonna blow your mind. You should not travel to Cuba if you can't afford to be connected to the internet at all times. Getting internet in Cuba can be a little bit tricky. You either have to buy a card at a hotel or at a special office where there's always a long line. So generally speaking, your internet use is certainly gonna go down, and you can only access the internet at certain places, parks, hotels. You might start to feel a little bit disconnected from the outside world, and I know that can affect a certain amount of people. You should travel to Cuba if you love beautiful beaches and nice weather, especially in the American winter. When I went in January, during the day, the weather was gorgeous. At night, it got a little bit cooler, there was a nice breeze blowing in, and I even have a video about one of Cuba's best beaches, so definitely check that one out. You should not travel to Cuba if you expect everything to run smoothly. Buses are going to be sold out, and there's going to be no alternative forms of transportation. Restaurants and bars are going to be closed without warning, and sometimes you're going to find it easier to buy beer than water at certain stores. You've just got to suck it up. There's no 7-Eleven, there's no McDonald's in Cuba to bail you out. You should travel to Cuba to interact with the locals, especially outside of Havana. I noticed they were a very warm, down-to-earth bunch. They're gonna be very curious about where you're from, so definitely give that a shot. You should not travel to Cuba if you can't handle seeing socialist and communist messages plastered all over. For example, when you're driving on the highway, instead of seeing billboards with advertisements for clothing, restaurants, you're gonna see Fidel Castro this, pro-socialist this, pro-communist that. If you can't handle it, you definitely should not go to Cuba. You should travel to Cuba to see how people who are pretty disconnected from the outside world live. Family values are extremely important there, and one of my favorite things about living in Trinidad was just walking around and seeing families hanging out outside, talking without cell phones, and just enjoying each other's time. You should not travel to Cuba if you're expecting to find a large variety of gourmet foods outside of Havana and any big city. It's going to be difficult to try to locate anything past fish, pork, or chicken at many restaurants. And speaking of restaurants, customer service is going to be slow. You might be waiting a while to get your check. You should travel to Cuba if you're American. I never heard a single bad thing from a Cuban person about the United States. In fact, many of them told me about their relatives living either in Miami or New York. I do have a funny story though. I was talking to a British woman, and she said, "We're in a rush to travel right now to Cuba before all the Americans get there." And I looked at her and I said, "Got bad news for you. It's too late. We're already here, and yes, Americans are starting to travel to Cuba in droves. It's about time you checked it out." I hope after watching this video you understand some of the basic challenges and hurdles that will come with traveling to Cuba, and this is as of early 2017. I do want to encourage everyone out there again to check out my Cuba vlogs. I'm linking the playlist down below. There's 4 different episodes, 4 different experiences, and I hope that you guys really enjoy them. Like this video, share it with your friends who might be considering traveling to Cuba, and certainly subscribe to Here Be Barr. We've got travel vlogs, travel tips videos just like this one coming out weekly, looking to help you guys travel smarter. Be a part of where you go. Thanks for watching.